Good morning. Thanks to be here for my presentation. I'm Ghezzi Luigi, Technical Marketing Engineer for Hamamatsu Photonics Europe. And today I will speak about some possible application with the UV range, and in particular with the flame detection. And we will see also some different application with water analysis. Okay, so first of all, if you don't know Hamamatsu, let me quickly introduce our company. We are a Japanese company that is founded in 1953. We are a Japanese company that is based in Hamamatsu City, and but okay, we are present more or less in overall Europe and world. There are so many numbers here. Let me just highlight that we are very, very proud to contribute to 3 Nobel Prizes with our product. We continually develop new products, so we spend a part of our revenue in R&D, and we can offer, as I will show later, a lot of different products, more than 50,000. But the most important, 2 parts of 3 of these products, so 10,000, are custom specific. So we can customize our product for the customer and meet the customer requirements. Why today I decided to speak about UV range and in particular UVtron, that is the product that I will show you today. Basically, it's because this type of sensor can work in the ultraviolet region, where basically works very well without any contribution of the solar spectrum. Here you can see the relative intensity of our sensor compared to the solar spectrum. So which type of application we can use and we can detect with this type of sensor in this region? One of these, for example, is the discharge sensing, that it's basically to avoid the issues, and it's very hot topic thanks to Spain now, this topic. So you can see with our demo how it's easy for our sensor. This is the demo unit that you can find in our booth here. How it's easy to identify the discharging between the cable. This is just a small representation of what is possible to apply for the ambient high current cable, for example. Another very important application is the fire detection, and this in particular it's important in ambient application like drones, for example, to detect the fire in the forest. And also in this case you can see how it's easy and immediately detected the flame that we have from the lighter with our flame sensor module. You can see here the value that change when we switch on the lighter. So these 2 applications can be used in ambient light, so outside, but also in other applications, like for example in industrial facility, where it's very important to detect the fire or eventually the flame and the discharge. Here you can see the behavior of the detection of our sensor compared to the distance. So you can see that with the high sensitivity type we can detect at more than 100 meters. And here you can see the flame detection of these alcohol lamps. So this is the flame that it detects, and basically you can see the distance. So with the standard product we can arrive to 20 meters to have a good number of count, more or less 1,000. This is another video. I decided to use a lot of video to show how really works it. This was during our exhibition in Japan last November. You can see here the UVtron module that you can find in our booth. It's a module that integrates the UVtron sensor plus the electronics to have an easy readout. And here, okay, I am a little bit explaining what we are showing. So we have here a discharge, and that you can see now I switch off this discharge and how it changes immediately the signal. And what is interesting in this video, for sure it's not me that I'm showing because I am also here, but now I take this discharge, manual discharge, and I move out from the sensor, more or less the first trial. This was during the trade show, so same condition of now. I move out like 4 meters for starting, and you see that it detects very well. Now it's not in the video, but I am moving far away, so you can see that here start to decrease a little bit, but the detection works well. I arrived to more or less more than 10 meters during the trade show to make this video. Now I switch off, and for this it's not detected. Okay, let me show you another important application for the UV region and the detection. It's basically the flame of the hydrogen that can have many different applications. So the domestic application, so if you want to use the hydrogen in the boiler, it's also this a hot topic discussed a lot. But also for industrial application, you can use the boiler based on hydrogen, or during all the process that use hydrogen, so manufacturing, transportation, or the utilization of the hydrogen. Here, in this video, you can see, thanks to this thermograph camera, how the detection works very well. When we remove the filter, you can see that we have the detection. When we apply the filter, basically it's going down and switch off. You see that it's immediately gave up. Okay, so just to resume, these are all the applications that I showed before, and you can see that all these applications have basically a peak in the ultraviolet region between 200 and 300 that, as we see before, it's out of the sunlight impact. So in this region, basically, our sensor works very well. All these phenomena that I described can be detected without the interference of sunlight, and this is the real advantage. Let's see how works the UVtron, that it's the sensor that I mentioned to you now. Basically, we have an anode and cathode. When we have the ultraviolet light on the cathode, it generates a photoelectron, and this photoelectron interact with the gas molecular that are inside between the cathode and the anode in our sensor. This generates amplification effect, so it's called, these photoelectrons are called secondary photoelectrons, and by cascade effect, basically we have more and more of these photoelectrons that arrive to the anode, and this allows to have a very quickly reply from the sensor. This is the lineup that we can offer of our sensor, but now I will show you more in details. As you can see, we have different type of sensor, depends from the spectral range that you want to select and highlight, with different sensitivity and voltage. They can be used in the operation range is the usual one for the industrial, so less 40 plus 125. And in addition to this, what we are showing also here, and I showed before in the video, we can provide also this UVtron module. This module already have the sensor inside and all the electronics for the readout, so you can basically easily connect the external controller. It's a 9-pin connection directly to your computer or something that you want to read immediately. So this is a way to test immediately the sensor if it works for your application and to make it easy to use for you. Okay, I mentioned before that today I want to explore other applications in the UV region, and the other application that I want quickly mention is the detection of the water. So if we want to make water analysis, usually the methods that are used are chemical or biological methods, but this means that we need to take the sample to the laboratory, we need to process it, so it's longer and not immediately, and usually we use reagents, so we also change the status of the water to have the information. All this can be avoided by optical measurement for the water, so if you use a classic absorption spectroscopy methods, we can basically use our light source on the sample, and we can bring all the information by the image sensor and the grating. Why this is very important? It's because basically we have real-time analysis. We don't need to contaminate the sample, and we don't need to filter anything out of the sample. And we can make this type of analysis also directly on site, so directly close to the water that we want to analyze. Which type of information we can bring in the ultraviolet for the water analysis? We can basically, in this range, we can have a lot of information like the oxygen that is inside the water, if there are any chemical or biochemical oxygen, or if there are dissolved, or we can also detect eventually presence of disinfectants. And this analysis can be also combined with the visible one that usually study the turbidity of the water. What we can offer as Hamamatsu depends from the type of analysis. If you want to have one-point analysis, we have a specific photodiode that can be used for the different type of analysis, depending from the peak that you want to highlight. You can see here the family with the 3 different peaks, depends from which type of information you want to bring. But if you want to collect more complete information, we can use also, you can use a multi-wavelength analysis. That means basically that from the light, by the grating and the image sensor, we can collect all the wavelengths that we are interested in and all the peak. So how we can support this? Basically, with our spectrometers, we have the new one, the ultraviolet spectrometer, and the visible one. If you are interested just in the image sensor, we can offer visible image sensor based CMOS and CCD, or InGaAs photodiode or image sensor. And as I showed before, we can also offer our silicon photodiode that are ideal for this study, in particular the 3 peak that I showed before, or also the complete gamma if you want to cover more wavelengths. We can offer not only the sensor, but also the light to study, basically to illuminate the sample. Depends from the type of analysis that you want to realize. We can offer ultraviolet lamps. And here, for example, you can see the ideal ultraviolet xenon flash lamps for the water quality analysis. We have basically 3 different types, with different power. Depends from the application that you want. Or we can offer the deuterium lamps for the water analysis. Depends a little bit from which type of application. So just to come back at the starting of the discussion, I mentioned that we have so many product and customized solutions. Just to resume which is the offer that we have in our portfolio, we can basically offer different type of photosensor that cover more or less the complete spectrum. Depends if you want the visible one, we can offer CCD back on front illuminated. We can offer CMOS image sensor, silicon photodiode or APD. We can offer the MPPC, or also called silicon photomultiplier. And we can offer the complete gamma of sensor, photodiode and image sensor InGaAs based, that basically can cover the near infrared range up to 2500 more or less. But if you want to go up in the wavelength, we can also offer InASB and InASB detectors that cover the middle and far infrared range. And the advantage of this sensor is that they are pion free, so respect the ROIC condition. So if you have specific requirement for this, by this optical sensor, you can basically match the requirement. Or in case we can offer also the standard thermopile that cover all the near and mid infrared range. We can also offer emitters, so we can offer basically lamps, or light source, or PLD, or LED that are in the red, near and mid infrared, or the QCL that are covering the middle infrared. So basically we can offer so many products, light source and sensor, but now we are also offering a new, let me say, service for our customer that it's called the Hamamatsu Photonics Pilot Line. The idea is basically to combine all these products that we can offer and all our expertise in order to match the direct requests of the customer with the module that can support their application and business. So the idea is with all these components, we can basically creating a prototype for the application. We can optimize the design based on the application of the customer. And after this, we can basically support the customer with a dedicated production of this module that can include, depends on the application, but can include emitters, detectors, electronics, readout electronics. So we are waiting for challenge basically from customer side. And the advantage, which is the advantage that you can find? For sure, we have basically all the product. So you can have one supplier that integrates all the program, all the product. We usually support and discuss the implementation and application with the customer. So we have also expertise in the collaboration with the customer. We are able to provide a really production of the product. And we are also able now with the collaboration with Photon to have access to extra funding from the European Union. So these are the main advantages that we can offer with this new service of the pilot line. Okay, let me quickly mention, I know that the deadline is very close, unfortunately, but we will also, we want to support photonics in many ways. We see in the starting that we support the R&D with the product, the study in the university and supporting with these winners of Nobel Prize. We also want to support the new idea in the photonics with this challenge that I hope you already know. We start to launch this at the starting of the year. And the idea, it's basically to collect new idea for the photonics, new possible idea, possible new application. We want that our customer, but not only our customer, startups, OEM, leaders that have new idea, apply for this new idea. We will evaluate it, and in case this is also a very good way to access to our pilot line, and we will celebrate the best idea during laser show, so in June soon, with a celebration and also promoting this idea by Hamamatsu channels. Okay, so I respect also the time. Thank you for listening to the presentation. If you have any question, I will be very happy to reply. Or if you are curious to discover all our product, you can find it and more in the Hall 1, booth 340, that it's very close to here. So we wait you in the booth or later in the show. Thank you for listening.